We have different responses to conflict. How do we respond to conflict, di ba? Now comes the practical side. We have different responses to conflict, and you will see this slippery slope diagram. What do you notice? You notice different ways to respond to conflict. This diagram has three major sections on how you respond to conflict. We have the extreme left, which is called the escape responses. Extreme right, which we call the attack responses. And the middle portion, which is the peacemaking responses. We will discuss each one. But our tendency really is to go to the extreme right and left. Okay? How we respond to conflicts. But what we will be trying to impart to you through these materials now is that we need to confine ourselves in responding to conflicts. We need to make use of the peacemaking responses, which is at the very center. So we have three ways to respond to conflicts. Okay, escape response, attack response, and peacemaking response. In escape response, people tend to avoid or get away from the conflict that they're into. Okay, attack response, people just want to attack people. So in their minds, that will resolve conflict. But actually, peacemaking response is the way to go. Let's talk about escape response first. Escape response, the first one that you see on that slippery slope is denial. Okay? In denial, you pretend that a problem does not exist at all. Okay? You deny. You deny that there's a problem. Oh, may problema ba kayo? Wala kami problema. Di ba? Wala. You deny. But that's not true. Because you deny that there's a problem, but there's a real problem, and you are harboring bitterness in your heart. And as you prolong that, kasi sabi nung iba, now let it just go, and later it will heal. People say na time heals. But, no, it really doesn't heal. Okay? Just like in medicine, you don't say, oh, just give it time and you will heal. Yung may infection ka eh. You have an infection. Oh, just give it time, you'll be healed. Hindi eh. You need to do something. You need to give antibiotics. You need to give medication. So, this is very unhealthy because it's just like a rubber band. You stretch it, and then you keep on stretching it, And time comes when that will snap, and it will be very painful. When you deny that there's a problem, there's bitterness in your heart, and you will be harboring that, and it will continue to grow. It's unhealthy. And then next is flight. When you're in a conflict, your tendency is to run away. To avoid seeing the person. Your D group mate. Halimbawa, no? You have a conflict with your D group mate. And you always worship at 9 a.m. But you always worship at the right side of the auditorium, your orchestra. But now, because you are in conflict, you know that D group of yours will be on the right, you will go to the left. But you still see each other, so you would rather go to the upper balcony, okay? But you still see each other, you choose the other time, no? Kung 9 kayo, nagte-12 ka na lang. Worst, you go to another satellite. Another way sa escape response is suicide. That's the ultimate escape. Do you know that in the U.S., suicide is the number 2 cause of death among teenagers, next to vehicular accident? Number 1 cause of death of teenagers is vehicular accident, but number 2 is suicide. There are many young people now committing suicide. In fact, in the Philippines, we are not spared. There are many students who commit suicide year after year. Nagkaroon ng scare sa medical field. Those condominiums that are high, now they make sure that there are grills already because students just jump out and commit suicide. It's very sad, no? They think they escape problems, they escape conflicts by doing so. We call all these peace, not peacemaking, but peace faking. You're faking peace. Okay? Let's see an example of somebody who's been denying that there's a problem.
Mom, have you talked with Janet?
Oh, of course I have, dear.
Oh, really? Well, what'd she say?
She asked me to fix the lasagna.
Mom, that's not what I'm talking about. Have you talked with her about the way that she treated you and how she just booted you out of the women's group?
Oh, she did nothing of the sort. I'm still a part of the women's group. I'm just not in leadership anymore. I enjoy the extra time.
Mom, that's not true. That's just it. You are in leadership. And those women chose you to be a chairperson for a reason. And then Janet Farley comes along and usurps your authority.
Now, that's not entirely true. She didn't usurp. She is just a go-getter, a very energetic person.
Mom, she is using that group as her social kingdom, and you know it. When you were leading the women's ministry, we did meaningful things. And our programs were centered around practical issues like, being a good wife or raising your children or, learning how to love others and helping the disadvantaged. But Janet's just turned that upside down. You need to talk to her.
Honey, things just have a way of working themselves out.
Yeah, that's what Custer said when I saw those Indians running over the hill. Mom, you need to talk to her.
Well, honey, I wouldn't know what to say. You know I'm not very good at that type of thing. And Janet's doing a fine job.
And that doesn't bother you?
No, of course not.
Okay, what about last week?
Oh, that was just a Freudian slip.
Mom, a Freudian slip is when you're mad at Dad and you mean to say pass the beef, but instead you say pass the beast. That's a Freudian slip. When we were at that stoplight last week and you said, that Janet Farley has just ruined my whole life. I just wish she would shrivel up and die. Mom, that's not a Freudian slip.
You know what I mean. I was just daydreaming and it sort of slipped out.
And can't you see how that's just the tip of the iceberg of what's going on inside? You really need to talk to her.
What would I say? I have no idea what to say.
You know what to say.
No, I don't know what to say, and I told you this doesn't bother me.
What doesn't bother you?
None of this bothers me. You're more upset than anyone.
Mom, what doesn't bother you?
Nothing bothers me.
Well, then what are you going to say?
Nothing. I told you.
Okay, I'm Janet. Pretend that I'm Janet, and you just tell me what you want to say.
Oh, Bria,
tell me how
silly.
you're feeling. Come on,
Bria,
this
no,
is your chance.
Stop.
Claire,
this is silly,
Claire,
Bria.
I'm Janet.
Bria,
Tell me.
Out of my way.
Tell me, Claire. Tell me how you feel.
This is not funny any
longer,
longer,
what you
honey.
think and tell me
Stop
how you
it.
feel.
This is not funny.
Just tell me how
I
you
am not
feel.
a cow. I am not a nobody. You make me feel like some old woman who's lost her balance. All I wanted to do was serve God, and I thought that's what I was doing, but then you come along, and everyone thinks everything you're doing is the most wonderful thing, important, exciting. We could have at least talked. The least you could have done is called me one time to ask for my opinion, but you never called. What was I supposed to do, say no? What was I supposed to be, a wet dish rag to put a damper on everyone else's fun? Old fuddy-duddy. That women's ministry was very important to me, and now you've made me look like some old grandma in the corner talking to myself. I hate you, Janet Farley.
Whoa. That was some Freudian slip. Mom, this is killing you. And maybe not physically, but certainly spiritually. You need to talk to her.
Denial can be dangerous because of the bitterness in one's heart. This can result in many other negative experiences like depression, like no peace at all, paranoia, insomnia. You couldn't sleep. And oftentimes even physical sickness. You don't know why you're feeling so weak or so sickly, but it's all because of bitterness in our hearts. We need to deal with the conflict like this. You don't do denial. So let's move to the other type of response, attack responses. When there's a conflict, what is your tendency? You assault. That's the first step, no? You assault, you use force or verbal attack. Oftentimes when we hear the word assault, we think of physical attack. But in a church setting, we usually have verbal attack or Facebook attack or wherever attack, okay? It's a Viber or whatever. Assault can also be seen in disobedience. If you have a member disobedient or not cooperating at all, that could be an assault. That could be an attack. Okay? If assault does not do its work, you're not satisfied, and you really want to inflict pain, then you move on to litigation. What is litigation? You take it before a court, civil judge. Magdemandahan na lang tayo, di ba? Litigation. You get your attorney and then sue the person. You're in front of an unbelieving judge or in the States, jury. But you know, as Christians, this is not to be our choice. Another is, of course, the murder, killing the opponent. That's the utmost attack. Okay, let's talk about litigation. What does the Bible say about litigation? 1 Corinthians 6. If any of you has a dispute with another, do you dare take it before the ungodly for judgment instead of before the Lord's people? Do you not know that the Lord's people will judge the world? And if you are to judge the world, are you not competent to judge trivial cases? Do you not know that we will judge angels? How much more the things of this life? Therefore, if you have disputes about such matters, do you ask for a ruling from those whose way of life is scorned in the church? I say this to shame you. Is it possible that there is nobody among you wise enough to judge a dispute between believers? But instead, one brother takes another to court, and this in front of unbelievers. The very fact that you have lawsuits among you means you have been completely defeated already. Why not rather be wronged? Why not rather be cheated? You know what the Bible is saying about lawsuits? It's not our way. Christians do not sue each other. We have the Holy Spirit. Even the most simple-minded Christian can help us solve our conflicts. Don't bring it to people who are unbelievers. Okay. Of course, may mga cases, no, mga hard cases that will be dealt with later. Okay, so attack responses, we have assault, we have litigation, and we have murder. Now let's see a video that would show us an example of an assault in the form of gossip. Okay, that's it.
Well, you don't ask Gina anything, you tell her. She just loves to complain. If you ask her, she'll give you a complete history of all her aches and pains, and then at the last minute, she'll sigh and say she'll go ahead and do it anyway. I know, bless her heart. Yeah, I've heard that. Bless her heart means that she's too dumb to come in out of the rain, but God loves her anyway. We think. Anyway, call Gina and tell her, don't ask her, to make that casserole for the potluck. Uh-huh. Okay. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Who was that?
It was Jill. She's helping me coordinate this mom's night out thing next week. Whew, I think I'm going to need a couple of mom's nights out after this whole thing is over with. Want some chips to go with that monster?
No. Chips would only take away from the artistic integrity of the masterpiece.
Speak of the devil, it's Gina. Oh, I'll be on the phone with her for hours listening to her complaints. I'll just let the machine get it.
Hi, you've reached the Stewart state of confusion. We're all out seeking therapy at the moment. Please leave a message and we'll get back to you. Thanks.
That's a cute message. Made me laugh, I guess. This is Gina. Jill just called and told me you needed a casserole for next week. I've been feeling poorly lately, and I've got those spasms in my back again. But I'll be glad to do it. Listen, the reason I called, I was talking to Nancy yesterday. She seems to be pretty upset about your leadership in the Mothers in Ministry group. And she said that you had taken off.
Hello? Hello, Gina? Hi. Well, I just walked in the door and heard your message and wanted to catch you before you got away. How are you? What's this about Nancy? Uh-huh. Oh, really? Spasms, huh? Oh, you poor thing. You sure do suffer from those things. Well, bless your heart. So, what did Nancy say? Well, I have done my best to try to include her in all these plans. Well, I would have, but... Bossy? She said I was bossy? Well, she just won't help on projects unless you push her a little. Well, I gotta run. Jeff just came home for lunch, and... Well, thanks for the info on Nancy. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. Just any old casserole. Sweet and sour tuna. That sounds just fine. Okay. Well, I gotta go. Okay, thanks again, Gina. Bye-bye. Jeff, do you think I'm pushy?
Well, there are times when...
Never mind. I'll just stop calling on Nancy. That's all there is to it. It's not like I called her that much anyway. It's not like she did that much.
Yeah, isn't there a scripture that says if your brother offends you, write him off your list?
And your point is?
Well, you were ready to write off Nancy because of some remark made by...
Well, you heard what she said.
No, I didn't hear what she said. And neither did you. You just heard some gossip from some woman you'd been gossiping about 5 minutes before.
I was not gossiping. I was sharing my heart.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I get the point. I'll just forget what I heard about Nancy and pretend nothing happened.
Oh, yeah, that always makes for great relationships. Denial and running away.
Don't you have to go back to work? Hello, Nancy. Hey, this is Laura. I was wondering, would you like to have coffee sometime in the next couple of days?
So we're supposed to avoid gossip, slander, assaulting other people, attacking them when there's a conflict. It could revert back to us. Pwede tayong gantihan. This attack responses is also termed as peace breaking. If the escape response is peace faking, this can also be known as peace breaking. Now, let's move on to the proper way to respond to conflicts, which is peacemaking. The peacemaking, notice that peacemaking is at the center of this slippery slope, and it's divided into 6 parts. The first 3 parts are called the personal peacemaking, and the 4, 5, 6, the last 3 parts, is called the assisted peacemaking. So let's talk about the personal peacemaking. What do you mean by personal peacemaking? Oftentimes, 85 or so percent or 90% of conflicts can be resolved already by personal peacemaking. It only means that you don't need any other people but yourself to resolve the conflict with another. If you have a conflict with someone, you can resolve that by doing the personal peacemaking. Okay, if that doesn't work, then probably you need an assistance already. So what are the parts of the personal peacemaking? It starts off with what we call overlook, or quietly overlook and forgive an offense. Forgiving even if the other has not asked for forgiveness. Have you experienced that in your life? I have. there were times in my life when I felt bad towards somebody because they did something wrong. But in the quietness of my heart, I would go inside the comfort room, kami lang ni God, and then I will pour out my heart. Lord, pinasama loob ko nun. And then I would forgive from my heart. I've been training myself to do that, and it's very healthy. Even if the person has not asked for forgiveness, be sure to forgive already from your heart. So that when the time comes, when you see that person, medyo okay na yung heart mo. Okay, notice that overlooking and the denial are very close to each other. Did you notice a slippery slope? They're next to each other. Overlook an offense and denial. So what's the difference? The difference really is denial is pretending there's no problem, but there's a real problem. And bitterness is in your heart. It grows there in your heart. But overlooking is admitting, yes, there is a problem, but I would choose to forgive and let go. Okay? I would choose to forgive. Overlook. You know, just applying overlook many times, wala nang conflict. Wala nang sama ng loob. You won't experience bitterness in your heart. Okay? Just overlook. Okay? Somebody cuts in on you, you're supposed to order already and then cuts in on you. Forgive in your heart. Diba? Baka mamaya gutom na or something, no? Anyway, so yun. So there's a difference. So the next is reconciliation. If overlook is not enough, then go for reconciliation. What does this mean? If you have something in your heart that you realize that you need to confess before the person, then go ahead and confess. Or if there is something that you see in his or her life that needs correction, then lovingly approach the person and share with the person that what that person is doing is harmful. Okay. And another of the peacemaking, personal peacemaking, is negotiation. If there is an involvement of any material thing, like there's utang, okay, money or physical things, which is substantive also, then negotiate. Negotiate. No, that's negotiation. Proverbs 19:11 says, "A person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense." So overlook is also in Proverbs being reminded of us to apply. Okay, the second, the reconciliation is actually confession or loving correction that leads to resolving relational issues, such as anger, frustration, or bitterness. Reconciliation occurs when conflict is too serious to overlook. There are situations like that. You cannot just overlook, but you need to go to reconciliation. It's either from lovingly approaching a brother or sister or dealing with your attitude as well. Now, if this does not work at all, then you might need an assistance from another person or a group of people. So we call this the other side, no? Assisted peacemaking. If personal peacemaking cannot work, it's not viable, then assisted peacemaking is the next step to take. The first one is mediation. Mediation between two parties. Oftentimes, these two people do not talk anymore with each other. They refuse to see each other. But if they agree to have a mediator so that they can discuss or talk about the conflict, then that's healthy. That's a wonderful sign that there is a hope that reconciliation can happen or conflict resolution can happen. So mediation means asking another to help resolve the conflict through facilitated discussion. The mediator does not decide for the two parties. He just allows them to talk about their situation, helps them go through. Okay, if that doesn't work, then you move on to arbitration. Arbitration is having somebody decide for both of you. If you're in conflict and you really can't have a meeting of minds and you cannot resolve your conflict at all, then you might need arbitration. Arbitration is more formal. It involves both sides representing their concerns and asking the arbitrator to decide what should be done. At the very beginning, they agree. They choose somebody whom they really trust. For example, we choose Pastor Peter, ikaw na arbitrator. Or whatever you decide, we give it to you. Okay, we'll follow. Because you trust the person. Both of you trust the person, the arbitrator. So that's arbitration. If that doesn't work, then you move on to the next is accountability. Then you already get in the entire church, the team leadership, the leadership of the church in the picture to help you out. This has helped me a lot, itong biblical pattern for resolving conflict. Every time there's conflict or there's a meeting about conflict resolution, I keep this in mind. I remind the people involved, there's a conflict, to have this in mind and in their hearts as well. We call this 4 Gs. Okay, 4 Gs. Biblical pattern for resolving conflict. Before you even try to talk to each other, you think already. The first G, glorify God. How can I glorify God during this situation? The next G is get the log out of your eye. The next one is gently restore. And next is go and be reconciled. This has helped me tremendously, itong mindset na to. And even those in conflict that I have mediated. Let's go to glorify God. Glorify God means you imitate His grace towards us. Remember how gracious the Lord is to you. He has blessed you a lot in your life. He has saved you from many mistakes. And then you bring honor to His name. How can you bring honor to His name? And then you obey His commands. Okay, glorify God. I tell the people, this is, okay, when we meet the other side, the other party, think, how can you glorify God in the meeting? Diba? Think, how can we all glorify God before we talk about this situation? Diba? And if you say that, and everyone is focused on, okay, I need to glorify God in this situation, then you will have a better chance of reconciling. And you trust God. There's a verse in the Bible that's one of my first memory verses ever, 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. This verse is talking about simple things in life, eating, drinking, whatever you do. This is a good guide for us. Do it all for the glory of God. So even in conflict resolution, think of how we can glorify God. Diba? No matter how serious the situation is. And then, the second G is get the log out of your eye. It's examine my attitude, evaluate my shortcomings and responsibilities. It's looking inside, inwardly. Because there are always two parties involved in a conflict. Okay? And if you are one of them, you're a party, you're one of them, of course, you have done something that has contributed to the conflict. This is getting the log out of our own eye. In Matthew chapter 7, verse 3-5, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank or log in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? Ang laki nung nakatakip. You know what this is saying? Instead of dwelling on the wrong things that the other party has done to you, you think. You stop for a while, step back, and think. Analyze the situation. You process. What is it that I have done that has contributed to this conflict. And if you realize that you've done something, then you confess your sin to the Lord. You ask God to help you change your attitude, change your habit that led to conflict. And have that heart to seek to repair any harm that we've done, we may have caused. There are two kinds of logs: critical negative attitude and actual sinful words and actions. Maybe your mistake or the one you contributed is having that negative attitude. Baka yun lang, negative attitude. But sometimes you may have spoken words that are hurtful. Actual sinful words and actions. Di ba? And these are the logs that we need to confess. Confess before the other party. Okay, now let's watch this video about true confession. Saying sorry. Okay? Husband, wife.
Okay, here you go. Hey, I'll help you with these, and then we can go upstairs and watch some TV. Hey, great idea to send the kids over to your mother's. Watch some TV after this? Tasha, come on, I said I was sorry, okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So you want to go watch some TV after this?
What for?
Well, to relax, that's what for. I mean, we both had a hard day. Be good there.
No, I mean, what for? What are you sorry for?
Oh, for making you mad.
You're sorry for making me mad.
Yeah, sorry about the thing, the thing that made you mad.
What thing? You're sorry about something that just sort of showed up at the dinner table?
No, come on, honey, you know what I'm talking
No,
about.
I don't, and don't honey me.
Come on, sweetheart, I said I was sorry. Can we just go watch some TV?
No, we can't go watch TV.
Why not?
Because, number one, you're not really sorry. And number two, you have no idea what you've done.
But I said I was sorry.
What for?
For what I said.
What did you say?
Well, the thing I said about the burnt roast. I mean, it wasn't really burnt. They knew I was making a joke.
I knew it! You have no idea of what you said or how you hurt me. You don't even know what you're apologizing
Well,
for.
what are you talking about?
Well, I'm certainly not talking about some comment about a burnt roast.
Well, what are you so mad about then?
Oh, sure. I understand. Melissa's out in the workforce. She has more important things to worry about than dirty diapers and clogged sinks.
No. That's not what I meant. Tasha, this is a stupid thing to get upset about.
Aha! Not only are you not sorry, but you think I'm stupid for being hurt. Well, mister, if you want a gal out in the workforce, and if dirty diapers and clogged sinks are a real turnoff for you, then maybe I could just do some rearranging of things around here.
Okay, I understand now that I hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry here, okay? Okay, come on, just a little smile. Come on, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Come on, the next game starts in about 3 minutes. Come on, let's go.
I cannot believe you!
What?
That's why you wanted to apologize!
What are you talking
You wanted
about?
to get everything squared away before the game, so you wouldn't be interrupted.
No.
You're not sorry. I can't believe you!
Look, this whole thing is getting bent out of proportion. Okay, we had the Mitchells over for dinner, right? Okay, I may have said a few things that tick you off, but I said I'm sorry. Now, can we just get things back to normal here?
That's it. I've had enough.
What?
I'm going to bed.
Well, what are you doing?
I told you I'm going to bed.
Well, what about the knife?
First, I'm going to cut the cable on the TV, and then I'm going to bed.
Now, Tasha, come on, let's talk about... Never gonna see that Knicks game. Okay, Tasha, let's talk. What hurt your feelings?
Okay, observations. What does this video teach us about making a good confession? What do you think? Anong mali? Sincerity. Why do you say sincerity was a problem? Because he doesn't know even what to confess about. Di ba? Ang labo. So it's not true confession. When you say sorry and you don't mean it, you're not sincere, the other party knows that. Okay? There are 7 A's of confession that can aid us. 7 A's of confession. If you did something wrong, if you have done something that has hurt people or hurt a person, and now you're in conflict with, remember these 7 A's. First, you address everyone involved. Sometimes you lose your temper, you shout at your spouse in front of all your children or in front of other people, and then later on, you're sorry, you say sorry to your spouse. You know what you're supposed to do? You're also supposed to say sorry to all those affected. You address everyone involved. Okay? I sometimes do that, I confess dun sa dinner table, children, I have something to say, di ba? I lost my temper. I somehow raised up my voice against mommy, and you were there, and I'm sorry. I said sorry to mommy, but I also apologize to you. Learn to address everyone. What if it happens in your D group? Then learn to address everyone in the D group. Okay? Say sorry publicly because you lost your temper publicly. If you gossip against somebody, then be public also and confess. Address everyone involved. Avoid if, but, and maybe. When you say sorry, avoid if. Avoid these words, but, or maybe, I'm so sorry I did that. But if you didn't do that, I wouldn't, di ba? I'm sorry really. I did that to you. Maybe if you stop doing, wala di ba? When you say sorry, you stop. I'm sorry for hurting you. I'm sorry for doing that. I'm sorry for saying this. Would you forgive me? Di ba? Yung dapat specific, di ba? Admit specifically what you did wrong. Di ba? The example kanina, I'm sorry for saying that statement na mas okay yung other girl who has work outside. Parang ang dating better than you who's the manager of our house. That's hurtful for housewives. But really, housewives are really doing great, as house managers. Yeah. Acknowledge the hurt. You need to acknowledge the hurt. I know that when I said that, you were so hurt. And I'm sorry I said that. I know you're hurt. Accept the consequence. If there are consequences, you accept. Yun nangyari. There are consequences when we commit mistakes. And then alter your behavior. You change. You change for the better. Okay? Once you realize that you've hurt the person, don't repeat. You change. No, pagka na-hurt siya in your sarcastic words, then avoid being sarcastic. And important also is ask for forgiveness. And you see that parenthesis there? Allow time. It doesn't mean that when you ask for forgiveness, that forgiveness will be granted to you or verbally said towards you at that very moment. You give time. You allow time. Okay? Para mag-cool down and ma-realize ng person that you're really sincere. And if that person would see the sincerity of your heart, of your confession, then perhaps you will be truly forgiven. The next G is gently restore. Gently correct and restore a fellow believer. If there is something that the person or fellow believer has done which has hurt you or hurt other people, then gently correct. Okay? And with the mindset of how can I restore my brother? How can I restore my sister? The point is, who would tell them to correct something in them if there is no one who cares for them enough to tell them of their mistake? People need to be restored. If they have committed something wrong, we should not judge them, but do everything to restore them. Okay, and we also, during our conversation with them, we need to help them to focus again or refocus on Jesus. I remember a story of a father who spoke to his daughter when she fought with her younger brother. The father asked, "If God were here today, what would he say to you?" The daughter answered, "He would say that I'm not supposed to fight with my younger brother." Then the dad answered, "I think he would say to you, I love you. I sent my son to die on your behalf. You are blameless in my eyes. And because you put your faith in me, someday we will be together in heaven." You know, when he did that, not correcting the usual correction, the daughter had a change of heart. Refocus people to Jesus again. Keep on refocusing on Jesus, to Jesus. If the situation is difficult, maybe you can drag along up another person. When should we go and talk to someone? When a relationship is damaged and when the offense is too serious to overlook. There are offenses that is too serious to overlook. When is overlooking not enough? Okay, overlooking is not enough when you say yes to any of these questions. Okay, does the offense seriously dishonor God? Then do not overlook that. You have to deal with that. Does the offense permanently damage a relationship? There's a relationship that has been damaged. Does the offense seriously hurt others? And does the offense seriously hurt the offender? The one who's doing it, it hurts him or her. So when you say yes to any of these, then the matter should not be overlooked. It should be dealt with, gently restored by loving correction. Loving correction helps someone solve a problem, identify and lift a burden, see own negative contribution to the problem and make a change, be a positive example to others. You lovingly correct. You seek to restore. That's the mindset. You seek to restore. When you lovingly correct someone, you seek to restore. Avoid lecturing. Don't lecture. Okay? Because they will clam up. They will not listen to you. Use good listening skills. You must prove to them that you're listening. What's one way of proving to them that you're listening? You have any eye contact and you ask questions. You repeat. Yeah? And when they sense that you're really listening, they would continue to talk. Focus on what God has done through Jesus to forgive and deliver you. This is what I mean. Continue to refocus their eyes towards Jesus. And you're supposed to prepare yourself. If you're going to talk to somebody that's very sensitive and you'll try to correct a loved one, a fellow believer that's sensitive, you pray. You pray first and you pray for humility and wisdom. You plan your words carefully. You anticipate likely reactions. What if suddenly tumayo ito or sumigaw or, di ba, nag-tantrums or something? What will I do, di ba? You anticipate. You know what you're supposed to do next. You choose the right time and place. If you're trying to correct your spouse, and then you chose the time dun sa bedroom na may pillow, na masarap na yung aircon, malamig-lamig na. Tapos, I have something to tell you. What? Mamaya nag-explain ka na tapos narinig mo na nag-snore. Wala na. Not the good time, not a good place, and then here you are, talagang burning na naman in anger. Di nakikinig. Mali yung timing di ba? Mali timing. And then assume the best about the other. When you're trying to correct somebody, you still assume the best, okay? Don't judge. And listen carefully. And also speak only to build others up. Ito yung mga natin, guide. Ask for feedback from the other person after you talk. Words can be truly powerful weapons, okay? We have to use the right kind of words. It can make or break any attempt to resolve a conflict. So, cover yourself with prayer. Recognize your limits. By the way, no matter what you do, how good you are in reaching out to the person, you are limited. You're not the Holy Spirit. It's God. who will change the heart of the person you're talking to. And lastly, yung go and be reconciled. Yung sa fourth, yung sa 4Gs. You replace hostility and separation with peace and reconciliation. You try your best because this is for Christ's sake, Christ's name's sake. We need to be peacemakers. When we reconcile with each other, we are peacemakers. Christians are the most forgiven people in the world. Therefore, shouldn't we be the most forgiving people in the world? We have been forgiven much. Okay? Forgive as the Lord God forgave you. So how do we develop a spirit of forgiveness? Forgiveness is a decision involving 4 promises. These are the 4 promises of forgiveness. So if you forgive somebody, you remember these 4 promises. You're actually making 4 promises. It's a decision to make 4 promises when you forgive. The first promise is, I will not dwell on this incident. Once you forgive a person, yan yung isang promise. The first promise, okay, I will not dwell on this incident. I will not bring this incident up and use it against you in the future. Remember, 20 years ago when you, hindi wala na yun, di ba? I will not bring this incident up. I will not talk to others about this incident. No more. Don't talk to others about the incident because you have forgiven from your heart. And I will not allow this incident to stand between us or hinder our personal relationship. Let's watch this.
So you see, Andrew, I realized after rethinking the whole thing and after talking to Jim that I really came across too strong in that meeting yesterday.
No, it's okay. I mean, it happens all the time. We all get a little...
Really, let me finish. I mean, I really came across too strong. I was out of control. And I can see how I really embarrassed you. Would you forgive me?
It's no problem, you know? I mean, I didn't think anything about it.
Well, it's important to me that you know I was wrong. And that I realize I was wrong.
Yeah, sure, I forgive you, all right? I mean, like I said, it's no problem.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay. See you around, eh?
Yeah, sure thing. And then he comes in the next morning and he wants to be all buddy-buddy, you know? Guess it's easy to do that when you're the winner. And Rick's marketing scheme, let me tell you, I guarantee it's going to cost thousands more than it's going to bring in. It's so top-heavy with advertising costs and schemes. God, what an idiot.
Come on, Andy, he said he was sorry. He's just being passionate. I thought that's what you liked best about working with Rick. And besides, soon enough, everyone will see that your idea was the best for the project.
Yeah, I keep thinking about how you got in my face, you know? And every time I think about it, I wish I could have done one of those Jimmy Cagney routines, you know, with the grapefruit.
I guess it's a good thing it wasn't a breakfast meeting.
Whatever. Well, look, I gotta go. I gotta go bow down to the king of marketing.
Will you stop? You like Rick. You two be friends. You hear me?
Whatever. Gotta go.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Rick. How you doing?
Great. Hey, listen, I was going over the schedule for the new marketing campaign. I noticed you still haven't got a web designer for the new web page.
Yeah, I got a couple of calls out, but these guys are really busy. I mean, everybody's going to the web.
Yeah.
Look who I'm talking to. The website's a big part of your marketing plan.
Oh, yeah, and if we don't get it done in time to introduce the winter line,
Well,
you know.
Then, what, you gonna pitch another fit like the one you threw in the conference room last month, huh? Yeah? You gonna maybe throw some things this time?
I said I was sorry about that, you know. I thought you'd forgiven
Come on,
me.
lighten up, all right? It was just a joke. I'll have a web designer in your office in the morning, and he can sell us both at the same time.
Great. Well, listen, see you in the morning then, okay? All right.
What a jerk.
Good morning to you, too.
I was talking about Rick. He's so difficult to work with lately, you know? It's like he walks around here like he owns the place.
I guess I hadn't noticed. He looks preoccupied to me. Hey, are you going golfing this weekend?
You heard about the big blow-up we had a couple of weeks ago, huh?
Yeah, I heard it got a little tense.
Little tense? The guy went berserk, screaming and yelling. It's one thing to work at a place, but to have to come in and take abuse from a coworker. One of us has got to go. And I tell you what, it's not going to be me.
Hey, you guys are always like 2 peas in a pod. You'll calm down and things will be back to normal in no time. Just give us some time.
I'm giving his marketing plan all the time in the world. Just you wait and see.
Hey, Andy, look, if you can't hurry that guy along, then maybe we need to hire another firm. The deadline for the advertising ad for the September-October issues are right around the corner. Hey, I don't want to be stuck with the same old this year for our print advertising. You know, I really want to be innovative.
Okay, Rick, I'll give the guy another call. Or better yet, I'll have him call you, and then you can do the same dance that I've been doing with him for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Look, I'm pretty busy here, okay?
Hey, listen, I thought we'd have lunch together. You know, it's been a while since we had lunch. How about macaroni grill?
No, man, I mean, I've really got to stay here. I got a lot of stuff to do.
Andy, it seems like things haven't been the same between us. I mean, you know, ever since I blew up in the conference room and
No,
stuff.
I've forgotten all about that.
I mean, I don't know. You know, things seem different. I mean, work just hadn't been the same.
Rick, it's just that, I mean, we're all busy, We're trying to get this marketing and promotional campaign of yours kicked off, and we're just all really busy.
Well, you sure you're forgiving me and everything? I mean, you're okay. We're on the up and up here, right?
Rick, like I said before, it's no problem.
Okay. Okay, lunch another time, huh?
Sure.
So there wasn't any forgiveness at all. Lahat ng apat na promises, hindi ginawa. Okay. Forgiveness is not a sentimental concept. It's not a feeling. It's not forgetting. It's not excusing. And it's not a temporary pardon. Forgiveness means we must renounce sinful attitudes and expectations and not expect the offender to earn or deserve our forgiveness. That should be coming from us, not based on them earning or deserving our forgiveness. It's also not a desire to punish the offender or a demand to guarantee that it won't occur again. If we forgive, it's not a guarantee that it won't occur again. Okay, let's see this last video for tonight about forgiveness.
Scott, you can't be serious.
Very serious.
But we have them dead to rights.
Dead is a very good word to
If
describe.
you think they're going to be out any money.
Not about the money.
Of course not. It's a matter of rights.
Matter of right.
What?
Matter of right. It's a matter of doing what's right.
Exactly.
Dropping the lawsuit. That's what's right.
Their insurance company will pay.
Doesn't matter who pays.
If you think it's going to be a financial burden.
It's spiritual burden.
A what?
Spiritual, social burden.
Don't get philosophical with me.
Right. We're dropping the suit.
You can't.
Can't? Of course I can.
I mean, it will cost you thousands of dollars.
That's not about the money, remember?
You need to remember I work off the award.
I know.
You win, we split the award or settlement.
I lose.
You lose, I don't charge for my time.
I drop.
You drop the case, you pay all costs.
Fine.
Fine. You like throwing your money away?
Don't like throwing away my good conscience.
I'm telling you, it won't come out of their own pocket. The insurance company will pay.
It's not about the money.
Will you stop saying that?
I gotta live the truth.
Exactly, and the truth is here that you have been wronged and deserve
compensation.
Exactly.
Yes. But it's not right.
For Pete's sakes, what's not right?
He's my brother.
What? Huberman is your brother?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you say so? When was the last time
I didn't know.
Didn't know? You didn't know he was your brother?
Didn't know how I should treat a brother in a situation like this.
Oh, no, I am really confused.
It's funny because I'm feeling less and less so.
Scott, will you wake up here? Look, Huberman is your brother, and you didn't know how to treat him.
I knew he was my brother from the very beginning. Didn't mean that much to me. The issue of rights and all that.
He clearly broke the contract.
I know.
You have damages.
I know.
Look, you are within your rights. A judge will decide.
The judge already decided.
What?
Said we were both guilty.
No one's guilty until this
previous case.
What? You sued Huberman before another lawsuit?
Co-conspirators, both guilty.
Guilty of what?
We were both sentenced to death.
You what?
We were both deserved death. Justice must be done.
Some fresh air. You know, I think some fresh air might do you some good.
This same judge allowed his son to die in our place.
Is this some kind of joke? Scott, I'm a busy man.
We're both under death and set free. Both guilty, now completely restored.
Yeah, and the fairy godmother came floating down out of the clouds, and the big bad wolf runs away.
In this new country...
What country?
The country of the dead men made alive again. We can get this taken care of without getting another judge involved.
You are wasting my time.
I suppose. I apologize.
I'll be sending you a bill.
Fine.
You really have been wronged.
Better to be wrong than to act like I was never sentenced to death.
I don't know what that means either.
I know. Another kingdom is another example.
Example of what?
The judge's son.
What about him?
Totally innocent. Yet he was wronged. He was killed.
Yeah, so I heard you.
He took our wrongs, laid down his rights, and yet loved the ones that wronged him.
Yeah, great story. Anything else?
A lot.
What?
Your question, anything else? A lot. Enough to fill all eternity.
I think you better leave.
Yes.
Now.
Right. Thanks for your time.
My time is expensive. You'll get my bill.
Thanks.
Sure.
The video is entitled, Why Not Rather Be Wronged? When we're dealing with a brother, a sister in Christ, why not rather be wronged? Okay, so tonight we have learned many principles on how to resolve conflicts biblically. We have given you the workbook and your pamphlet, which summarizes all that we have discussed. I suggest encourage you to review them over and over again so that you will know what to do when conflict comes. We need to first manage ourselves before we can help others with their conflicts. I'm sure that we have gone through materials. When we were going through the materials, you yourself saw some things in your lives that need to be changed. And you deal with that with the Lord. And as CCF, by God's grace, continues to grow, we are in need of more people who know how to handle conflicts the Bible way. They are called peacemakers. I believe 90% of conflicts that we will encounter in CCF can be resolved if we follow the biblical principles and if the parties are willing to give God the glory. So next week, God willing, we will be able to talk about how to do mediation. Okay, as we wait for next week, please go over your materials so that you will put it not only in your mind, but more in your heart. I'd like to close with a passage. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Remember, it was Jesus himself who said this. And remember also that Jesus is our ultimate example of a peacemaker. He died on the cross so that you and I can be reconciled back to God.